Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Tim here. So, man, I have really been wanting to get to this video. Let me preface it with, so if you watch my channel, even remotely over the last couple weeks, you know we were in a huge move. Move mode sucks. I hate moving. So we're completely out of the old. We're completely in the new, but just unpacking and things like that. As I look off that way to my garage door and I shudder with all the crap that still needs to be dealt with. But we're getting through it. But you know, with the Prestons, we're getting through it all. But I got my tunes. I'm happy. The listening area, whatever, is coming along. But I've got things I want to do to it, and that's going to take some time. So, but before we moved, in fact, Sunday before we moved, I had the opportunity, the pleasure of meeting fellow VC member Alex from Alex Spins Vinyl here in Orlando. He's from the UK, so this was a special thing, and it was like, man, this is not something I'm gonna get a lot of opportunity to take or get, so I'm gonna take it while I can. We made arrangements. We had been talking on and off for a couple weeks about it, and it was something that, you know, based off of something he had posted on Facebook. And I'm like, dude, is this really happening? Because if it is, let's meet up. And we spent pretty much the whole day. Hit as many record stores as we could in the area. Had a great day. Brad from H2 Vinyl actually took a minute to join us when he could. He had some prior engagements in the morning, so he was awesome to see him again. He's a local bud, and we just don't get enough times to hang out, Brad. So it was good to see you. But yeah, so we just spent the day digging. So I got a decent stack. I'm gonna try to go through quickly because my videos tend to run long because I'm a long-winded son bitch, and I'm gonna try to fix that. So anyway, so I do have them in the order of the stores we went to, and I will preface it with this: the middle of the day was the good shit. So here we go. So the first one we went to was called R&R Records. Really with the camera? Jesus. So R&R used to be in a different mall, and the mall folded and things like that. So I hadn't been to their new spot, but I wasn't that impressed with them in the old spot. But I wanted to maximize their day, and it was one of the ones that was open up early, and on a route that I had planned, it made sense. So we get in, looking around, a couple different things, checking out, you know, soul and jazz, and just there wasn't a lot that really spoke to us. But as we're leaving, we see a kind of side section that had some 12-inch singles. Alex and I are both hip-hop fans, so we went, and I was happy. So I picked up two there. So this one's on the Uptown MCA label. I don't know if you can see that there. It's Heavy D and the Boys. This is the single from the name of the album just fell out of my head. Peaceful Journey. I could picture it, but I couldn't think of it. It was a single called Don't Curse, and he had a few people on it for his guest features, and obviously you couldn't curse. And it was a fun little track. Sampled Hip Hugger from Booker T and the MGs, so really just, you know, had a great, you know, backbone behind it. It was a lot of fun. The other one I was really excited about, I was glad to replace this, was the Living Color 12-inch for Love Rears Its Ugly Head. It has a great hip-hop soul remix on it, which is really well done. B-side is Elvis Is Dead. Folks like a former DJ used to spin that one, because when you see that, that's them showing the BPM. So I picked up a couple, you know, nice start to the day. So then we went to Rock and Roll Heaven. Now, if you're not from Orlando, you've probably heard of Rock and Roll Heaven. It's probably one of the more talked about record stores here. If you're from Orlando, you probably have been there, and I mean, it's okay. They have a selection. Sometimes they price themselves out of the market. I'm just being honest. I know some people have had not the greatest interaction with the staff there. I've never really had a problem with the staff. I don't know if that's just from my retail background that I did in a prior life. I don't know. But I really never had a problem with the staff. But to each his own. But I went with Alex with the mindset of look for grails. And he did really well in the hip-hop 12-inch section as well. I kind of skimmed stuff, yay, I maybe would have grabbed, but I was really trying to just hold off for where I knew we were going. So while he was having a blast there, and again, he's here one day digging, so give him all the exposure I could. I was bouncing around, checking a couple different things, looking for grails, looking for most wanteds in rock and stuff like that, and hit the jazz section. And usually when I'm flipping through, it's either I don't know, which is, you know, sad because I'm still in my infancy when it comes to jazz, or I know it, and I know it for a reason because it's most wanted or really popular and it's kind of pricey. But I was really happy to see this. I can get the glare off of that. I've spun this like 3 times since I've been in the new spot. Cleaned it. It sounds absolutely amazing. It's a it's not a 2i. It's the old you know, round Columbia. But man, it just sounds fantastic. I was super happy to pick this one up. Obviously, this one being one of the more popular records, I was very familiar with it. But just to have it on wax now was a treat. So I was glad to add that to the Davis collection. We wrapped up there, and then there's a section in town in Orlando that's got like 3 to 5 record shops, depending on where you go and what you want to hit. And so I had kind of planned a little corner visit here of 3. And the first one we went to is Foundation. Now, Foundation is small. And when I say small, it's tiny. You know, you think of a living room, dining room. Like my living room, dining room here, to be perfectly honest, is probably a little bigger than the shop. It's a small building, and it's Foundation, and then there's an ice cream shop next to it. It's not the biggest spot, but what they don't have in size, they have in heat. So if you saw Alex's vinyl finds from that day, he picked up 2 major want grails there. Good deal. I mean, clean, great stuff. I also lost my mind. I would say a grail wouldn't have been like maybe top 3 grails, but this was one of the first times I'd seen it in a while, and I had to jump. So, but we'll get there. So they have a $5 section. They have a $10 section. On the $10 section, they usually work with you. I think the 5s are like 3 for $10. The 10s are 3 for $20. You know, so they try to let you know right up front. Hey, we're gonna cut you something on those. And then the other ones, depending on what you buy, he works with you. So in the $5 section, I picked up another copy of It's a Beautiful Day. I have an OG Columbia 2i press, but it's noisy. And if if memory serves me correctly, it has a skip. So I wanted to replace it, so I picked that up. So from the $10 section, I started flipping, and I want to say I got 5 in, and this one popped up, and the cover had decent water damage, but they had done what they could to repair it. That's Gypsy. Look right here. Got some water damage there. They put clear tape on it to kind of hold it down. But you know, I mean, the vinyl VG to VG plus. I mean, spots. Wonderful 2-disc on them. Shoot! I did not mean to do that. That's okay. We're one taking it. So on the Metro Media label. I mean, it's listed as classic rock, psych rock, and I wouldn't agree with the classic rock as much. I would definitely has some blues rock influence, definitely has a psych, but also has a fair amount of prog too. So, I mean, I heard elements of slight. I wouldn't say overpowering, but I heard elements of King Crimson, and I heard did hear the psych and stuff like that. So I was really happy to find that. Like I said, for $10, the cover's not in the best of shape, but the vinyl will do me. If I never upgrade it, I've got a great listen copy. So sometimes it's good to have lower standards on covers. Saw that, so once you're in for 10, 2 more for $10 more, you're gonna jump. And I think I flipped 3 more. I knocked the Nice Most Wanted off my list, which was the debut of Yes. So this is a 73 press, I believe. This album actually came out in 69. Interesting little piece on Yes. The writer from Melody Maker, he kind of called his shot with them, saying that they're going to be a bigger band than they probably were already set to be. And I think he was right. So, unfortunately, of all the ones that I've cleaned, I have not spun that one yet. That one's next. And then from the $10 section, I also picked up this. This is Breaking the Chains from Dokken. I mean, honestly, from Dokken's inception to Back for the Attack, you can't go wrong. I mean, great 80s metal. I mean, Dokken's vocals really on par. George Lynch, amazing guitar player. So, what can you say about that? So, glad to add that one to the collection. I think the only one from that era that I need on vinyl now is Tooth and Nail, and then the live album. So, but I wasn't done. And this was the one I actually found first in the shop, and I couldn't believe it. I think about jumped. Bad knee and all. Well, at this point, I hadn't gone to the move yet, so my knee was only moderately bad, which I screwed up big time during the move. But when I say that I am always on the hunt for Gentle Giant, I look for them all the time. And I get it. Some of this stuff's hard to find, but sometimes people are pricing themselves out of the market. And I mean that when I'm saying $50-$60. Okay, so if you had a OG Vertical Swirl copy, let's talk. But for your standard area run of the mill, just because it's Gentle Giant does not mean that it's worth $50. And I see this too much. But to see this one, and this one's the Spaceship Vertigo logo from the US. First time I saw it, I jumped on it. It was actually like $20, $25. I wasn't leaving it behind. Absolutely plays clean. It's what I'm listening to now. Since it's been on the spindle, it hasn't come off. I love this album. And my first Gentle Giant on wax. So I'm very, very happy and looking forward to get more. So that was Foundation. Like I said, small in stature, but big in heat. So then we went to Remix. And Remix is an interesting shop that kind of catered to more of the DJs in town. But at this point, budgets were getting tight, and they kind of stuck to the dollar bends. Sometimes it's not bad. I took a chance on a couple, so we'll go through those quick. Mandrill, this was their 72 album. 73, excuse me. Composite Truth. Now, Mandrill in the late 70s started to go to that disco sound, but this is when they were more funk. Vinyl's probably, honestly, VG minus, maybe VG in spots. But for $1, I was willing to pick it up and take a chance. I have not spun it yet. Another funk classic, Cuts the Cake by Average White Band. I want to say, because I know Alex put this in my hand, and if I remember the story, if I remember him telling me, is that somebody who worked on this one actually lives close to him in a pub, or works in a pub somewhere. He had a connection to that one, so I had to pick that one up. Another funk one, he was funk, went head more towards disco in the late 70s, but still funky, was the Jimmy Castor Bunch. Want to pick up some of his earlier stuff. So, but I saw this one again for $1, and the vinyl looked decent, so I was wanting to pick this one up. And this one is Let It Out, and I want to say from 78. I don't see it readily. 78, yeah, okay. And it's actually a division from TK, which is a label here in Florida. And then the last one was another hip hop 12-inch, and this is on Wild Pitch Records. This is when MCs had Skills reissue, so they were reissuing stuff to kind of cater to the DJs at the time. And this is Main Sources Looking Out the Front Door, and this one was my introduction to Main Source. Just killer stuff, and thank you MTV for playing that one a lot in my ear. So then lastly, we ended up at Park Ave. I don't know why, that just fell out of my head. Park Ave is a favorite of the locals here in town. Brad loves it. I love it. It's a great place to shop. Nice, well-curated pre-owned section, or used, or vintage, whatever buzzword you want to call it. So great stuff there. And that stuff gets a quick turnaround. But then they also have a bunch of value, like $3, $5 records, and sometimes $7. So we've kind of mainly stayed towards that. I know Brad picked up a couple new pieces that I'm sure he'll show as well. But that's a shop that, you know, gets a lot deeper in the new stuff. You know, you can find your usual stuff, but you know, the more smaller presses, limited titles, those types of things, they do get a lot of. And it's just because of their stature, they've been around a while. This is not sponsored by Pepsi, but if they want to give me money, sure, I'll take it. So again, stayed with the value section. And I got to pick up a few from them too, so it was a good day. So this is Mr. Tongue Twister from Tongue Twister, who later on became Twista. Now, Tongue Twister at the time, Twista, was known as a really fast MC, but not really fast in the sense that you couldn't understand him. You really could understand his syllables. And at one time, this was considered, I believe it was even recognized by Guinness Book of World Records as the fastest rapping ever recorded. And they basically went on number of syllables in a certain time period, and he just killed the competition. So absolutely fantastic. I love Twista's ability. I prefer hip hop a little bit more swagger, but you know, Twist is just, he's on a new level when it comes to some of his speed. And then another hip hop 12-inch I picked up, and they were considered a little bit more alternative in the hip hop world. And I remember even college radio really jumping on this one. This was the Dream Warriors, and if memory serves me correctly, I thought they were out of Canada, and they had a huge hit with My Definition of a Boombastic Jazz Style, and it sampled. I wonder if it says it right here. No, it doesn't say it on here, but there was a song that was in Austin Powers. Do 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 da 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 da. That's what it sampled, and it had an infectious hook, and I absolutely fell in love with it. So saw that, and I had to pick it up. Julian Cope. This is an EP of sorts. Has World Shut Your Mouth on it. I have a promo 12-inch of that, but I was glad to pick up more. So again, I think these were all like, I really want to say these were all like $3. Come on, camera. Man, why is this not? It's still not. I don't know. I probably am sparing you because you're not having to look at me. So this one's the Pentangle, Sweet Child. Familiar with them? I have their first album, and this is a live 2-disc gatefold on reprise, or whatever you want to call it. So I picked this one up just based off because I know their first album and figured it'd give you a nice little slice into the rest of their catalog. So I was looking forward to spinning that one. Two more. So I was flipping through, and this one, a little bit of water damage on the bottom of the cover, but again, you can't play it. And when I saw it, I was like, man, I haven't heard that song in forever, and I just had to jump on it. And that's Billy Thorpe's Children of the Sun. I hadn't heard that in forever. Like I said, got a little bit of like cover. Let me do cover, you know, VG, maybe VG minus because of the spine, but vinyl's pretty darn clean. I was glad to pick that up. And then lastly, I had picked this up, and this is an earlier press. I have a later reissue up north, and some of the stuff I need to get down here. So, and the collection that I bought, I mentioned a while back, I bought a collection right around the end of the year, and I'm still going through that too. So, you know, great things to do. And this was in that collection. When I went to clean it to spin it, I noticed it was cracked. I mean, like almost to the label. So I may end up just framing it and putting it on the wall. But so when I saw this one, and yeah, cover is in decent shape, maybe a little bit of wear, but I was glad to add another press of who's next. I mean, can't go wrong. $5, yeah. Even if I had a copy that was playable, I'd probably grab it because I'm sure there's somebody always looking for a copy of that. And it looks like it's going to be a decent play copy. So that was my haul with Alex. Insane, right? I mean, here I am. I'm prepping to move. Gotta pack up my records, and I'm buying more. It's the life of a vinyl junkie, right? So, folks, I cannot begin to thank you enough for all the love, all the support, all the well wishes during the move. I mean, I'm really overwhelmed. It has really been an incredible year in the VC. So I actually have another video that I'm going to talk about with that. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, everybody, thanks for watching. Take care of yourself. Peace.